Thank you. I'm going to address first issues regarding the enormous and unregulated over-the-counter derivatives market. Your institutions are 4 of the largest OTC derivatives dealers in the world. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency has reported that in September 2009, you collectively held over-the-counter derivatives positions of more than $230 trillion in notional amount. Your positions consist of more than a third of the world market in over-the-counter derivatives. Mr. Blankfein, in your written testimony, you've stated that standardized derivatives should be exchange traded and cleared through a central clearinghouse. And you further state, quote, "This will do more to enhance price discovery and reduce systemic risk than perhaps any specific rule or regulation." I would like to ask your opinion of the role that over-the-counter derivatives played in causing or contributing to the financial crisis.
I think people may have different opinions about this, but I would say that the aspects of the over-the-counter derivative market was a very, very big concern and a big worry, so much so that a lot of institutions, all of the institutions here, I believe, were working very, very hard to make sure that the plumbing, that things would settle, that things would clear, and that we started the process of creating these clearinghouses well in advance of this particular crisis, and really glad that we do. I mean, it was highly publicized that the Federal Reserve of New York created a program to get people to just make sure that confirms were done well, and that was a very big concern. As it turns out, my belief is that the derivatives market functioned, over-the-counter derivatives market, functioned actually pretty well under the circumstances. Now, the risks that may have been embedded to them, to the extent that they had credit in them, people made bad credit decisions because of, and some of those credit decisions were taken in derivatives, some were taken in terms of securities, but the derivatives market itself actually worked better, I think, than we had a right to expect. And if you could call anything lucky in the crisis, I think it was that it worked so well. So, for example, Fannie, Freddie, Lehman, WAMU all had big events of default with huge numbers of offsetting, but clearly people were taking credit risk with each other, offsetting derivatives on those credits. They settled and they cleared. And in the benefit of hindsight, that means people were able to hedge their risk, lay off risks, protect themselves, and it worked very well, better than I would have thought. I don't think we should rely on, I think that was lucky, and I think the amount of attention and time that people, regulators, the industry, legislators are focused on making sure that the instrumentality and the pipes of clearing derivatives are in place is highly justified, notwithstanding we didn't specifically have a derivatives crisis.
Do you think that the failure or near failure of AIG was related to credit swaps, that is, credit default swaps? And do you think that having clearing would have in any way reduced the risks inherent in AIG's position?
I believe that it may have helped a bit. I don't think that was a key thing. AIG was bent on taking a lot of credit risk. They took that credit risk in the derivatives market. They took that business by writing insurance against credit events. They took it by holding securities. It was a failure of risk management of colossal proportion, and there were derivatives in there, but it was really, those were merely mechanisms of taking credit exposure to get paid for that exposure that they took through multiple kinds of vehicles and could have substituted other vehicles for them.
Do you think, how would having a clearinghouse and having exchange trading of standardized derivatives reduce systemic risk, as you said in your testimony?
I think that to the extent that you have starting with a clearinghouse, to the extent that you have a clearinghouse, the issue we had with an AIG vis-a-vis margin, or fighting over settlements or what a mark-to-market should be for the smooth transfer of margin, we would have avoided. We got margin for them, but it was hard to get out of them. It was slow. It lagged what we thought the mark-to-markets. In a clearinghouse context, that would be easier to do. So anything that's liquid enough and could be priced easily to go through a clearinghouse should. If further, it's standardized so it could trade liquidly on an exchange, then it should. I wouldn't banish bespoke and tailored solutions that couldn't trade on an exchange because they serve a useful purpose. If somebody wants to hedge their grade of oil, let them hedge their grade of oil. Don't force them to hedge a different kind of oil. But what could be on an exchange should be on an exchange. Those that can't could be through a clearinghouse, and those that still can't can be bespoke bilateral contracts between companies, but they should be surveilled and subject to extra capital.